So in today's video, I wanted to talk about 8 essential jazz guitar chords. These are chords that if you get these 8 voicings down, you'll be able to play pretty much any standard in your real book. It's something that I think a lot of people kind of struggle with when they're first getting into jazz guitar. They feel like they want to dip their toes into it. And so as a professional jazz guitarist, I just wanted to share what are probably the 8 most useful voicings to you to kind of get up and running. Again, you can use these on any jazz standard. You can try throwing them in your playing when you're playing other kinds of music too. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. But let's take a look at these kind of 8 essential voicings. So the first voicing type that I want to look at is going to be a type of voicing called a drop 3 voicing. Now, a drop 3 voicing on the guitar translates to a chord where there's a bass note, you skip a string, and then there's notes on 3 adjacent strings. So to get these voicings kind of under our fingers, I'm going to have diagrams popping up here, which you can download for free from my website linked down in the description. But we're going to look at examples only based around the root note of G, and then we're going to look at actually applying these a little bit further in the video. So if I were to go with my first voicing, it would be this, which is going to be a G major 7. Now, when you have this skipped string in the middle, I find I'm resting my pointer finger on that A string so that it can't make any extra unwanted noise. It's not going to ring out. That lets me just strum all the way down through the chord. And this major 7, again, works anywhere where you see a major 7 or a major 6 chord, or even oftentimes just a major chord in music. You can use this beautiful major 7 sound. This contains the notes G, the root, B, the major 3rd, F sharp, the major 7, and D, the 5th. So that's a drop 3 major 7 voicing. And you can use this whenever you see major 7 or major 6 chords on a lead sheet or whatever you're working on. Now, the next drop 3 voicing to take a look at is going to be the minor 7 shape. So this you would play whenever you see a minor 7 chord, naturally. And this shape looks like this. So we're still on the same set of strings. We're still going to use G as our root, but we would get this. So it's 3, 3, 3, 3 on those. And this chord contains G, the root, B flat, the flat 3rd, F, which is the flat 7th, and D, which is the 5th. So there is a minor 7 drop 3 chord that's going to be super, super useful to you on your jazz guitar journey. Now let's take a look at what a G dominant 7 chord is going to look like in these drop 3 chords. I'm going to play it like this. And again, I'm doing the same. Actually, with that minor 7, really quick, this is my recommended way of fingering it, just because it uses as few fingers as possible. So I'm barring with my ring finger, and I have my middle finger over it. That is going to be the most efficient way to grab that chord. However, if you can't quite get the bar with your ring finger yet, totally acceptable to use 1 finger per string. Okay, so now let's take a look at what a dominant 7 voicing is going to look like. That would be commonly notated as just G7, and I would play this voicing. So this dominant 7 chord has my root G, my major 3rd B, my flat 7th C, F, not C, and then D, my 5th on top again there. This is a beautiful, beautiful sound. And again, I'm just basing everything off the root of G. We'll look at moving these voicings around a little bit later on. And then the final shape of the 4 drop 3s to get comfortable with is going to be this. Minor 7 flat 5. These chords can be a little bit scary when you first get into them, but as you go down your jazz guitar journey, you will see more and more minor 7 flat 5 or half diminished chords. And then I'm fingering that like this. So I have my middle finger on G, my root. My ring finger is on F, my flat 7. My pinky is on B flat, the flat 3rd, and then my pointer finger's grabbing that flat 5 on top there. So there are the 4 drop 3 chords that are going to be essential to your kind of jazz guitar getting comfortable with this journey. Now, we have 4 more chords to look at, because as the title says, we got 8 chords that we need to look at. So now we're going to look at a type of voicing called drop 2. Now, in drop 2 voicings, we're going to be playing 4 notes on 4 adjacent strings, And the 4 adjacent strings we're going to use for these examples are going to be your middle 4 strings. So the A, D, G, and B strings are where we're going to be based. And right now, we're going to learn everything based around C. So this is going to be on my 3rd fret, and the major 7 shape that we're going to learn looks like this. So here I'm playing 3, 5, 4, 5. This is my fingering I like to use for it. And if we kind of zone in on what notes we got here, again, same as before, we're playing our root, which is C. We have our 5th, which is G. We have our 7th, our major 7th, which is B. And then we have our major 3rd on top, which is E. Now, if we were to turn this into a C minor 7 chord, my fingers now move like this. So now I'm barring the 3rd fret with my pointer finger here. So I'm getting the 3rd fret of the A string and the 3rd fret of the G string. I'm rounding this out with my ring finger on the 5th fret there and my middle finger on the 4th fret of the B string. And we get this kind of sound here. Beautiful minor 7. Now our C dominant 7, or again how you'll most commonly just see it notated as C7, is going to be this guy, where I go 3, 5, 3, 5. Again, I'm barring with my pointer finger there. And we get this. This is going to contain my root C, my 5th G, my flat 7th B flat, and my major 3rd E. There's C7 for you. And then the last one of our 8 essential jazz voicings, but 4 on this set of strings, is going to be C minor 7 flat 5, or C half diminished, and that's going to look like this. So this one goes 3, 4, 3, 4. And here I'm playing my root C, my flat 5th G, my flat 7th B flat, and then my flat 3rd E flat. So I've got this happening. Now, these voicings again, because they don't have any open strings to them, they're completely movable, which is awesome. So wherever the lowest note of your chord is, so if it's a drop 3 chord, that would be the note on your E string. And wherever it is on the A string, if you're playing one of these voicings, will be your root. So let's take this for example and look at how things might sound if we were to apply this to a C jazz blues. So in a C jazz blues, it's going to be 12 bars, and there tends to be a bar of 1, or C7. There'd be a bar of 4 dominant, which is, sorry, Max has decided he wants to say hi. Then there would be a bar of 4 7s, so in our case that would be F7. Then it would go 2 bars of 1 dominant again, so 1, 2, 3. Then we'd have another 2 bars of 4 dominant, so F7. Then 1 bar of C7, followed by 1 bar of A7, which is 6 dominant in the context of a blues. Then we would play a 2 minor 7, so in our case D. Then we would play 5, which is G7. Then we would play a bar of C7, followed by a bar of G7. So if you couldn't follow along and keep that in your head, that's okay. I'm going to play through it and the chords will be popping up here while we go. So this C blues using just these two chord types would sound like this. So I got a bar of C7, 1, 2, 3, 4, F7, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Back to F7 for 2 bars. Then C, sorry I played a major 7, it should have been dominant, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we go to A7, then D minor 7, then G7, then C7, G7. And now here I'll do one without talking. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So now let's try starting the other way around. Before we started with a drop 2 chord and then went to a drop 3 chord when it went to the 4 chord. So now we'll flip that on its head and we'll start on a drop 3 chord for our C7. And now all of the chords that were drop 3 chords before, so that would be F7, G7, and A7, those are now going to become drop 2 chords if we were to do the same progression up here. So I would get C7 as a drop 3, 2, 3, 4, for F7 up here at the 8th fret as a drop 2, then back to C7. Then 2 bars of F7 here, back to C7. Now A7 is going to be a drop 2 chord, but it's up here at our 12th fret, and now we get D minor 7 as a drop 3 chord, then G7 as a drop 2 chord, and then C, 2, 3, 4. So we would get And that process you can basically follow for any jazz standard that you're trying to work on or learn from the real book, or say you just downloaded the lead sheet online. So these voicings are super malleable and super useful, especially when you're first getting into jazz. If you can keep these 8 voicings straight and start applying them to jazz standards you want to play, you'll be off to the races in no time and sounding like a real jazzer. So I hope this video was helpful. If you enjoyed it, I'd really appreciate it if you could like and subscribe. According to YouTube, about 90% of you watching are returning viewers but have not subscribed, so I would super appreciate that. If you want to take a guitar lesson with me, there's a link to get in touch with me down in the description below. I'd love to work with you on whatever's troubling you on the guitar. If you want to support me in the free educational content that I put out here, you could subscribe to my Patreon, also linked down in the description there. All of my patrons get early access to videos, as well as some cool behind-the-scenes sneak peeks. It's stuff that I'm working on, so I'd love to see you over there. I also have a video course all about triads on the guitar for sale, as well as an ebook that is just full of scales and arpeggios for you to practice and work on getting into your playing. That's linked in the description as well. And last but not least, I've got new videos coming out every single week, so I hope I'll see you in the next one. And until I do, I'll wish you a wonderful day, and I hope you have some fun playing the guitar. Thanks.